Hello and welcome back to the Off-Grid family. Today I'm going to be making a camera mount that I can have above my laser so that when I'm building things within it and when we're fixing it up, when I'm doing all that sort of stuff, I can record it a lot better for you guys, because whenever I've tried to do sort of any K40 kind of upgrades, I've had to have the camera angle in very weird places and I've never got quite the right light or camera angle. So hopefully this will help me, and it just means I can do a lot more sort of laser related stuff, because that's what stopped me a lot in the past, was just that how awkward it was to get anything set up. So I'm going to 3D print out a quick release mount, which I'll leave a link to in the description, and the rest of it I'm just going to wing it. I'm going to find bits and bobs and make it up as I go along. Follow along by all means. It will not be a tutorial as such, but it will give you ideas hopefully to then be able to copy if you want to do the same. Before I go any further, I'd just like to thank David, my patron. Dude, you are awesome. I really appreciate everything you've done for the channel. You've been here since the beginning and you are literally the most awesome person, and I really appreciate it. If you'd like to join David and become a patron, see behind the scenes bloopers, have one-to-one chats, etc., then pop down in the description and have a look at the link. If you feel like you can afford to help out, that would be awesome, but don't feel like you have to if you can't. Anyway, let's get on. Okay, so this is the stuff I've found together to make this, and like usual I've just grabbed a few bits together. I've designed it in my head and I hope this is all we need. We might need a few more things, I'm not entirely sure. This here was off an old easel that I got from a charity shop. The other legs of this were actually used for the original camera mount that I used for this camera mount before I upgraded it in a video which you'll be able to find on my channel somewhere. And I've just added a quick thumb screw here to make it easier to be able to go up and down, etc. I've 3D printed a quick release camera mount. I have some various screws and a couple of pieces of wood. This bit here will be so that I can have the camera go up and down and we can choose where the camera is in space looking into the laser. If I'm doing some electronics, it can be quite low so you can see what I'm doing. If I'm just laser cutting, it can be high and you can see the whole laser, etc. And these will be the arms coming out over the laser, which will dictate its position in space above the laser. I will measure all this up, but the measurements will not be put on. There's no point me showing you the measurements because they'll be different for everyone. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start cutting and just trust the process. I'm going to be doing this without much explanation, but you'll be able to see me as I do it and understand the concept, and then make one for yourself if you need one that will work specifically for you, if that makes sense. First thing I'm going to do is get this off. We were having really fluctuating hot and cold temperatures, so I put it on this just because it was easier to get it to stick to the bed. One day it was like 36 degrees and by the no, 32 degrees, and by the end of the day it was like 14 degrees, and so I just didn't want any of my builds to break, so I did it on this. I wouldn't normally, as I always use recycled stuff where I can. This nut here doesn't quite fit in, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat it up with my wireless soldering iron, and then I'm just going to squish it down with a piece of wood. So I'm going to put it sort of like this and then just squash down on top, and it won't take that much heat. This is PLA. And there you go. Now you can screw the next bit on. And there you go. So next I'm going to measure up everything I need and cut it all out. Okay, to give you some idea how this is going to actually work, basically I've cut these two pieces of wood. One's just ever so slightly longer than the other, and they're going to have a hinge here, and they're going to be clipped like this to the actual wooden batten that is for putting the actual curtain rail on, and then we'll have the stuff connected to here for the camera. So basically I will have a couple of screws sticking through here and here that just basically get tightened down. They don't screw into, but they just give it a bit of traction, and that will hold it onto the wall, if that makes any sense at all. So next what I'm going to do is plunk this hinge on the end. Okay, so this is how it's going to work eventually. It's going to go like this and hold itself on the wall, but I need to get a bolt through here so we can tighten that on. Some screws here just to give it like some teeth, let's say. Only a tiny bit of the screw will poke through, but just to give it that little bit of extra friction. And then I need to decide how I'm having the camera bits connected. I just measured this and we're slightly short this end, so I'm going to have to do what I was originally going to do in the first place and have part of this to make a place to go out, forward and backwards, towards and away from the wall. So I've got some horizontal and vertical some horizontal movement for the camera mount, and then I'll use the rest of this to do the up and down. Okay, so here we are so far. This is obviously the bit that clips onto the actual board, and now I've made two of these because my measurements were slightly out and I had assumed I might have to do that. And basically it's going to clip something like this. And so we've now got backwards and forwards motion and up and down, and that will be connected to here. So first thing is going to be connecting this to here like this, and then I need to connect this bit. Which bit though? This, no, confused myself. Okay, this bit. Hang on. To here. And then I'm going to need to put in some form of support or something like that. I'm not sure what I'm doing yet, but we'll have to see. Bearing in mind it's not going to be a very heavy camera on this, and this isn't a permanent thing, this is just semi-permanent. Okay, that's that part done, and this will obviously go like this, and then we've got access to up and down as well. Oh, hang on. Like that. Pretty straightforward. I will be gluing everything so that it's not just screwed together, but to be honest, that is pretty strong connected anyway. But as I say, I will be gluing it eventually. I would like to make some form of support to go between these two as well, just to give it that extra bit of security, which I will do in a second. But first I'm going to connect this to here. Nope, this to here like so. Okay, it is starting to look very much like one of my usual crazy contraptions. So this will now clamp down onto the piece of wood that's the curtain rail, and I'm going to get a screw. Let me have a find. Yep, somewhere. And we're going to have that going through somewhere around here so we can tighten it down into something. But that'll be for in a minute. But I'm going to make a reinforced bit here now first. Okay, so there we are at the moment. It's looking a little bit like a game of kids hangman, isn't it? Next we're going to get this screw through here somewhere, and that will be so that we can clamp it down to the piece of wood. And I think I'm just going to do it here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do quite a big hole either side, probably about this size, and then basically it'll have room to move slightly as the direction changes, as the angle changes. Okay, so that was fairly straightforward, and it just means that it can clamp down once I tighten this up. It'll clamp itself in place, but I'll put a couple of screws here and here, just literally so that they only poke through a tiny bit, just so that they can sort of bite into the wood. So I'll find a couple of screws that are the right size next. Right, there we go. They're not through much, but it's just enough to grab hold of the wood when it's there. Last thing we need to do is put on the piece that's going to hold the camera. There you are, totally finished, and what we're going to have to do now is install it upstairs above the laser. Okay, this isn't the best angle in the world, I'm sorry about that, but there it is, up connected to the actual curtain brackety thing. And I haven't actually screwed it in all that tight, but that's tight enough to hold the camera there. But I've only hand tightened it, and I haven't even done a very good job of that. But it is strong enough to actually hold the camera there, using the friction of the four screws. I'll show you it with a camera in the mount in a second. Okay, so there is a camera in it. This is the Wish camera a friend of mine bought, and I'm doing a review on it. And the reason it's tilted this way, I'm not going to give you too much away because it's going to be a great review, but it won't screw in fully to the quick mount. So yeah, that's not a good look for the actual camera. Just quickly to show you, that's its lens. Oh, it's fantastic. But yeah, so this isn't anything to do with my mount. This is just, it literally will not screw the actual, you know, quick release thing off of it. But yeah, that's just to show you it actually, you know, connected to a camera. I wouldn't even count that as a camera, to be fair. But yeah, it works really well, and I'll show you some footage from inside the laser now, and I'll be back with the outro. Well, I don't want to jinx it, but it works. And that's about the third or fourth thing I've built recently that's worked first time. Don't know what's happening. I am a bit concerned though. Anyway, I hope you liked that. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it can help you come up with something similar if you would like to do the same. Thanks again, David, my Patreon, and if you'd like to join him, pop down in the description and follow all the links, etc. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you again next week. Bye for now.